Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create new MySQL instance of Cloud SQL, and for that we will use Cloud Shell, right? So we use Cloud Shell to work with our SQL instance or even compute instance. So as you can see, I have expanded the Cloud Shell terminal. Now from here I can use gcloud and then call SQL, then databases, and then I can use create, name it mydb, then double dash instance and equals to instance name something like devsql. I can run this and have my instance created, but I need more control over the customization. So what I will do, I will close the shell for now and open all products from dashboard, because I want to access the SQL Cloud SQL part in databases, right? So we click on that and we will be taken to instance part. Here as you can see, I already have Dev MySQL instance, so I will click on create because I want it created from this particular area, because it gives more customization option. Then later we can shift to the Cloud Shell for creating table, removing table, or viewing the data or so, right? So what we can do, click on MySQL database. So that engine we will select. Here we will have instance ID and password, right? So once both of them are filled, I can also check if I can generate the password and add some constraints so that it can generate a good password. Then I will move to database version, right? So between 8 5.7 or so, I can pick the LTS version, right? Then choose the configuration to start with. Here you have production and development. You can compare the two, right? Here you can see production has 4, development has 2, so I will go with the minimum because this is test machine. Then you choose region and zone because you want to host your database in the exact region that you want. So say US Central, Europe, then maybe Asia, Canada or so. So in my case I will pick the Asia, it's close to me. If you want, you can pick those carbon neutral or low CO2 based data centers as well. So it's a personal choice based on your own preferences. Then zone, considering this is test machine, we will go with single zone, right? Then we can also specify zones here, but we will skip that. Then you can go deeper with configuration, where you can choose machine type, anything from 1 all the way to available memory. You can also pick the configuration from shared core or lightweight or standard, right? And then finally high memory. Like this you can experiment, right? So I will pick lightweight, right? Because we have custom option here, we can also pick 1 and 4 and so on. Minimum is 3.75 and 1 CPU. Then storage, can pick SSD or HDD. Between the two I can select, right? I can select the storage capacity from 10 to custom, so I will go with 10. There is also encryption option where you can see manage encryption key and customer manage encryption key, so you pick whichever applies. Then connections, this is important considering we are using our own machine instead of using enterprise or so. Can't choose private IP, right? In that case you pick public IP. If you are enterprise or business with specific IP ranges, pick this one. Then authorized networks, add the network. I will pick all the IP because I don't know which would be assigned, so I will use 0000 4 times and then /0. I will say done, and that change will apply. Then comes data protection, where we can take automatic backups, choose the time. Then you can also choose region, location, the retention of backups, right? Then you can also enable deletion protection. Also pick maintenance option, where you can pick the maintenance window for specific day, order of update, later, any, or earlier. Then in advanced option, you can pick between the date range. Then flags are for your aspects of instance. Then query insight, where you can see telemetry related option, and finally label for organizing your resource. Once you all check these options, you can create the instance by clicking on create instance, and then you will get to your instance. Let me show you my instance, which is dev MySQL, right? So it is listed here. So I will expand on that and we will take a look at some of the features. Here you see the CPU being utilized. I am using it for like 6 or 7 hours. Then you see IP address, which we can use to access this. Then in connection, you have enabled all the available IP address. In security, I can enable SSL, and also you can download certificate and use them with tools like Azure Data Studio, DB1, Table Plus, and so on. Right? In our case, we are going to use Cloud Shell. Right? So for that, we don't need this part. However, I explained it to you so that you can use it for your own use somewhere else. Right? Whenever you have any issues or need to save certain setting and not working, make sure to stop and restart, or simply restart. Either one of should work. Now let's go to Cloud Shell. So I will click on Cloud Shell from either dashboard or from this page itself. So let's go click activate Cloud Shell. So if you haven't done it already, it will expect you to do few things like provisioning Cloud Shell and so on. As you can see, I already have everything provisioned. Now I have to just connect to the instance that we have created. I can also use my own desktop's terminal for this, but I'm going to use Cloud Shell. So gcloud, and then we use SQL, and then databases, then list, then double dash instance equals to dev MySQL. Right? So we have our instance selected. It may even ask you to authorize. So give that option. Once you authorize, next would be you will find your database being listed, and you will also in our Cloud Shell gcloud, then SQL, then connect, then space dev MySQL, then double dash user equals to root. Now I will hit enter and it should connect. It may even be checking whether IP is allowed or not. It may also require to enable some API. In your case, you can go through that. Now here, as you can see, you may have to enter the. Now that password is entered, you can see that you logged in, right? So this is the shell where I can type in show databases, then use semicolon, and there you see your database listed. Right? Now we will use my DB, right? And then I will type in show tables, use semicolon again, and you have your table. Right? I can use describe people, there you go, it will show you the columns. Similarly, I can go ahead and check all the data from people's table, right? So select all people, so it should be select from is the keyword, and you use mydb dot people. Hopefully that should work, and there you go, your result set. Right now, let's say if I want to get rid of this table, I will use drop people. Right, you have an error because check the manual that corresponds to version show, so it needs to be drop table people semicolon, and our table is gone. Now I also want to remove the database, drop database mydb, and that's also gone. Now I can exit and we are back to bash. So that's a short session on how you can use Cloud Shell to work with your MySQL database instance on Cloud SQL in Google Cloud Platform.